Hi friends, we are back again to continue with our yesterday's topic. And I hope you remember what we learned yesterday. The industries. We said the industries can be classified into many depending on the raw material that we are using. We can say it can be termed as agro-based industry, mineral-based industry, marine-based industry, or forest-based industry. And the last class we saw what are the raw materials used from agro or agriculture, or what are the industries that they do which are using mineral as their raw materials. Today we shall see about marine based industry and forest based industry and so on. So take your textbook page number 51. Page number 51. We will see marine based industries. So marine based industries, marine means sea. The minerals or the raw materials that are coming from the sea, that is used for producing something else, that is called marine based industry. So they use products from the sea and oceans as raw materials. So what are the raw materials that we get from the ocean or from the sea? Can you guess? Mostly the fish, isn't it? We get fish from the ocean. That is the main raw material that we get it. So let us say example. Industries processing seafood. So the fish and the other sea creatures that are used for making seafood, processing into food. Or manufacturing fish oil. So some fish has no special oil and that is very costly. So that kind of animal fish are caught and their oil is extracted in order to sell it with a high price. Then another type of industry is based on the forest raw materials. Let's see what are the raw materials that are collected from the forest. So forest-based industries utilize forest produce as raw materials. So the things that are produced in the forest that are used as raw materials in the case of forest-based industries. Let's see what are they. So the industries associated with forests are pulp and paper. So the example that we studied in the last class, the example of paper, for that the wood comes from the forest. Pharmaceuticals, so some of the medicines that is collected from the forest, the local medicine, some of the plants are very medicinal, so such kind of plants, their roots are collected from the forest and made use for making medicines. And furniture, for making furniture we need to get wood that is coming from the forest. And also to make buildings we need sometimes wood, we need sometimes hard stones, so we need to dig it out maybe in the forest area and so on. Or even the wood is used for making house, not only for furniture but also for using making building houses and so on. So these are the different things, different raw materials that are coming to us from different sources. Some are coming from the agricultural farm which we cultivate and we grow the animals that are used for making different products, and sometimes we use the raw material that is coming from under the earth. We mine out from under the earth and we use it. So they are minerals and that is used for making different metals. Then we also use the marine products, marine raw materials in order to make seafood, fish oil and so on. And again we said we use forest raw materials in order to make paper, or in order to make furniture, or in order to make a house and so on. So that different industries are using different raw materials. So we can say this industry is agro-based industry, or this industry is a mineral-based industry, or this industry is a marine-based industry, or another industry is a forest-based industry, and so on. So that way we can say based on the raw material that they use, there are 4 industries are there. Now again we said we can also say depending on the size of the industry. Depending on the size of the industry, we can say there are 2 types are there. One is small scale, another one is large scale. So small and large. So there is a small scale industry and large scale industry. So size, it refers to the amount of capital that is invested, number of people employed, and volume of production. So how can we say one industry is a small industry or large industry? So 3 things they consider in order to say they are small or large. First of all, the amount of capital that is invested. So in order to begin an industry, we need a lot of money, isn't it? Suppose we are making a very huge building, we need a lot of money. Then a lot of machines we have to purchase, a lot of workers have to be appointed. So they need a lot of money in the beginning. That is called capital. The money that we require, the money that we are investing or spending in the beginning of a business or beginning of an industry, it is called capital. So if the capital amount is very big, then it will be a large scale industry. Suppose if the capital is very small, then it is a small scale industry. For example, a person is making pot. So he collects the mud and he has got that small machine and he sits alone and rotates the machine and makes the pot, earthen pot. So for that he doesn't need much money. What he needs is he needs to buy the soil and use it. He may not appoint another person, or he may appoint 1 or 2 persons and he have to pay salary to them. So he doesn't need much machines, he doesn't need a very big building, a small thatch house also is enough. So such kind of industries are very spending less amount of capital, and we can say they are small scale industry. Then, but some of them are having very big houses, big machines, a lot of workers, and so on. So they will be large scale, they will be called large scale industry. And also the amount of production. If the factory is very big and many people are working there, then they will be producing plenty of things. While the other person who is sitting and making the pot, he will be making few pots in a day. But the factory, they will be making thousands of things. So they are producing more things. That is another sign to say whether it is a small scale or large scale and so on. So that is another example. So 3 things are considered in order to identify an industry is a small scale one or large scale one. First of all, the capital that is invested. If the capital is very large, very huge, then it will be a large scale industry. If the capital is very small amount, then it will be a small scale industry. And second one is how many workers are there. If there are many workers, hundreds of workers are employed there, then it will be a large scale industry. But only if you 5 people, 10 people are employed, then it will be a small scale industry. And the third one is what is the third one? This the production. They will check how much things are they producing. A big factory that is producing plenty of things, then it will be a large scale industry. But another small industry which is producing only few items, few things in a day, then that will be called small scale industry. So it depends on the capital, the employees, and the production. Then, based on size, industries can be classified into small scale and large scale industries. So, cottage or household industries are a type of small scale industry where the products are manufactured by hand by the artisans. So there are industries called cottage industry. I am sure you might have heard the term cottage industry. That means they make a small cottage, a small house, and do the work there. So it is called cottage industry or household industry. People who are sitting in their own house and doing the work, making the shawl or making decorative items. All these things are cottage industry. They are not having any factory separately, but they have a small house, and inside that house they do it. Then, so in this cottage industry, they produce the things by hand. They don't use machines weaving the shawl. We can see, you might have seen how they are weaving. So they sit down and do with their hand. That is called cottage industry. They produce by hand, by the artisans. So those who are producing these things, they are called artisans. Artisans. So some of the examples are basket weaving. You know, some of our parents or grandparents, they sit down and make basket with bamboo. That is a small scale industry. And one who make the basket is called artisan. So it is a cottage industry. They don't have factory for making baskets, but they sit at home and make this basket or do this work. Or making pottery, making pots, earthen pots. That also the person is doing by himself with his hands. And other handicrafts. So many other things are made with the hands, decoration items and so on. All that is all belonging to this small scale industry. Then small scale industry use less capital amount and less technology as compared to large scale industries that produce large number of products. So we said in the beginning, depends on the production. So this small scale industry or cottage industry, they produce only few number of items in a day. If they are making basket in a day, how many baskets they will be able to make? Maybe 5 or 6 baskets in a day he will be able to make. But the people who are working in the factory, there are many people out there and many machines are there. So at the end of the day, they will be able to make so many things. For example, if they are making soap, let's say soap for taking bath, they make soap. So they make thousands of pieces in a day, not 5 or 6. They make thousands of soaps in a day. So that is a large scale industry because they are able to produce things in the large quantity. Then investment of capital is higher and the technology used is superior in the large industries. Again, as I said in the beginning, the large scale industries, they use a lot of capital. They need a lot of capital and they need a lot of money because they have to buy a lot of machines, a lot of raw materials they have to buy, a lot of people they have to appoint, and because of all these things we can say they need a lot of capital, a lot of money is required in order to do this work. And the technology that they use, the machines are of new technology, new machines. If they are not going on using this old one, if they use, the production will be less. So they will try to get the new machine that is available in the market so that they will be able to produce better. Because there will be so many companies will be there in the market producing the same item. So they have to compete with each other. There will be competition, and one who is able to produce more things and better things, good quality things, people will buy their things and that company will make profit. and the other company who is not producing good things, they only will buy their things and they will be at a loss. So people invest a lot of money with the idea, with the knowledge that they are going to get back this money. They are going to get back this money when they sell these things. So the investment that they make is not a loss. It is a investment in the future. They will get back as profit when they sell the products. That is their ideas. So the large scale industry, they need a lot of machines, and they use the new technology, they use the highest amount of capital and so on. But the small scale industry, they don't need much. A person who is making basket, he needs a few bamboos. So bamboo may be in his own garden, he will go and cut it. If he does not have in his garden, he will go and buy it. So 100 rupees or 200 rupees enough, he can get some bamboos. So they don't need very high amount of capital. Very small amount of capital is enough for them, and they will start their work. And so they will be producing less because they are making with hand. But the larger scale industry, they will be producing more because they are making with machines. That is a difference. Now again, one more way we can divide these industries. That is based on ownership. Based on the ownership. Based on the ownership, we can divide them into two. One is private, another one is public. And there is also another one called joint ownership. Another one is cooperative. So these are the four types of industries divided based on the ownership. Who is the owner of this industry? Let's see first about the different types. So industries can be classified into private sector, or state owned or public sector, or joint sector, and cooperative sector. So these are the four. Let's see one by one. What are they? So private sector industries are owned and operated by individuals. So the private sector industries are owned by individuals, private individuals, and also operated. Who is the manager? Who is the one operating it? It is the private individual. Or it also can be a group of individuals. Sometimes there can be one person alone may not have enough money to start an industry. So he maybe with 2-3 of his friends join together, all of them will bring some money and will start an industry. So always the ownership need not be of a single person. It can be by many people also. Then the public sector industries are owned and operated by the government. So in the private sector industry, the private people are the owner. If you start an industry, it will be a private industry. But if the state government is starting an industry or the central government is starting an industry, then it will be public industry. Then, for example, let us say the public sector industries are owned and operated by the government, such as Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. So there is an industry called Hindustan Aeronautic Limited. That means the industry that are making aeroplanes and so on. They are owned by the central government. It is a government company. Then Steel Authority of India, another government-owned industry, Steel Authority of India. They make the iron structures. They make the iron. It is the iron and steel industry. Using this iron ore, they make big iron structures, iron pieces, and so on. Then let's see what is joint sector. So if you study private sector and public sector, joint sector is very easy. So it is the combination of these two. So joint sector industries are owned and operated by the state and individuals or a group of individuals. So some people from the private and some from the government, they join together and they start an industry that is called joint industry. So it is together by the private people and the government officers. They work together and form a company. Why do they work together? It is maybe because government does not have enough money. So government will invite some private people. We are going to start a company, those who want to join, come. So they will be called and they also have to put some money. Government also will put some money, and so using all the money put together, they will start an industry. That is called joint sector industry. Then for example, Maruti Udyog Limited. So the Maruti vehicles that you see in the road, plenty of Maruti vehicles are there. So it is a industry that is joint industry. The government also has got ownership in it. The private people also has got ownership in it. Then another fourth one is cooperative sector industry. So cooperative sector industries are owned and operated by the producers or suppliers of raw materials, workers, or both. So this one is a group of people join together and they start an industry. Maybe people who are the producers. So producers of different sector, different raw materials, they come together and let us make an industry. For example, there may be many people who are producing cotton. So one farmer may be producing some cotton, other farmers may be producing in his field, maybe another farmer. So if one farmer alone is starting an industry, he may not have enough money to start because he has to buy a lot of machines, he has to build buildings and so on. So he will invite, come on, let us, all of us are producing cotton, let us join together and form one industry, start one industry. So it will be called the manufacturers or the those who are producing raw materials. They are joining together and forming an industry. Or maybe people who are supplying these raw materials. Maybe farmers are producing cotton in their field, and these people, agents, will go and buy from the farmers and bring to the market. So there may be many people like that who are working to supply this raw material from the farmers and so on. So they all can form one group and say, let us start one industry. So like that, anyone, a group of people can come together and start an industry, and such a kind of industry will be called cooperative industry. For example, Anand Milk Union Limited and Sudha Dairy are a success stories of cooperative venture. So two examples we saw. One is Anand Milk Union Limited. So that's the name of a company, and from the name itself we can understand what kind of company it is. It is a company that is collecting the milk and producing the milk products. So that is, many people are owners to that. Not just one person alone starting that industry, but many people come together, join together and form that industry. And another one is Sudha Dairy. That is also milk product. Dairy means milk product. So these two are companies using the milk and producing so many other products. So they are all not by just one person, but a group of people join together and form this industry called cooperative sector industries. So these are the different types of industries. We can divide them based on what type of raw material are they using, or based on what is their size or how much are they producing. or how much capital they are using for that. And again, based on the ownership, who is the owner of this industry? If it is by private people alone, we'll call it private sector industry, or if it is by the government, then it will be called a government or a public industry, or if it is by the private people and government people, then we call it joint sector industry, or if it is joined by a group of private people, then it is called cooperative society, cooperative industry, and so on. So these are the different types of industries that are available, that are functioning in our country. So in the coming days, we will be studying in detail about different industries, what kind of raw material are they using, what kind of production are they using, what are the process that is used, involved in producing things, and so on. So we shall wind up for today. In the next class, we shall meet you again and we shall learn more about different types of industries. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.